Good afternoon, everybody. Phil Simons here with Columbia Grain and your Friday afternoon weekly grain market recap. Overall, the headlines this week were fairly tame in regards to the Russia and Ukraine war. There was some smatterings of how far Putin would potentially push the envelopes, with some talk over nuclear weapons being used, which really did push the markets higher overnight. So stay tuned to see what develops next week on that front. But once the dust settled today, things were actually fairly tame overall week on week. Now, next week on Wednesday, we will have the latest round of the monthly supply and demand data from the USDA. Now, this is typically where I would start to share my screen with you to go over a bunch of different charts and graphs and things like that. And I do want to share my screen with you, but I want to kind of share it in a different way and just make sure that you all are well aware of the fact that we do post this information on our website as well. So really, if you just go to our website for columbiagrain.com, this is going to bring you to our landing page or our home page. And at the top of this page on the right-hand side, you will see the Producer Solutions button or tab. And if you follow that link and click on that, that'll actually take you to our Columbia Grain Producer Solutions web portal. This is where we house all of our videos and things like that, along with our charts and graphs that we tend to send out via email. So you can see that we have our latest video from last week where Rudy and I were giving you a little bit of a rundown in terms of what the markets have been doing for that previous week. Along with what the latest USDA charts are. So if we take a look and see also what else we have on here, you have links to video commentary, USDA charts, our Frontier logon, a production calculator in terms of what the cost of production is or your break-even value would be, along with the marketing tools that we offer in terms of cash contracts, hedge to arrive contracts, basis contracts, minimum price contracts, and a variety of different accumulator contracts as well. So be sure to log on to our columbiagrain.com website and then follow the link to our Producer Solutions portal to get all this information as well. But you can see over here on the right-hand side where we have the latest USDA charts, we can see that we had two posts in here today. And next Wednesday, which is what we were just talking about, we will see the latest supply and demand report from the USDA. So if we just click on this link, this is going to bring us to our pre-report estimates. So we can see that right now, the overall U.S. production in corn and soybeans is going to be really taking the primary focus for next week's report. Right now, the average estimate for corn yield is coming in at 171.9 bushel to the acre, which if realized would be down slightly from last month's number, which came in at 172.5 bushel to the acre. And again, in comparison to where we were last year, which was 176.7 bushel to the acre on corn production, or corn yield anyway. And then at the bottom of the page here, you can see where we talk about U.S. production of soybeans. The average estimate for next Wednesday's report is coming in for the yield to potentially be 50.5 bushel to the acre, which really would be no change in comparison to where we were last month, but down from where we were last year at 51.7 bushel to the acre. So again, just wanted to make sure that you were aware that we do post this information out on our website as well, and very useful links to boot. There were definitely those private analysts that were coming out with this week's estimates for next week's supply and demand numbers. And really, there's really an awful lot of attention right now on barge traffic in the Mississippi and Ohio River system, as the water levels are being noted as really catastrophically low and creating massive transportation situations, really with grain movement to the U.S. Gulf for export business. And some really staggering numbers on barge freight costs have been noted this week as well, with values that just make your head spin, to be quite honest with you. And some barge freight this week was valued from St. Louis going down to the Gulf close to $130 a ton. Now, really, to put that into perspective, vessel freight from the PNW to China on soybeans right now is close to $45 a ton. So to move grain from St. Louis to the Gulf to the U.S. Gulf is close to 3 times more expensive right now they're moving grain from the PNW to China. So really more to come on that, and weather is definitely going to continue to have an even more important factor into logistics. So really stay tuned and keep your eye on the weather maps to see what's actually happening out there. So overall, with this, the markets were fairly tame in terms of headlines. But remember, we need to feed a bull every day in order to continue to see the markets react the way that they have been here prior to this week. So when we are in a bull market and we don't feed the market every day, it tends to drift lower, which is exactly what we saw this past week. So really, again, when we look at our columbiagrain.com website and we go to our producer solutions, we can see what the weekly futures price ranges were as well. Again, starting on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see that Dees corn actually had a net gain on the week of just 3 cents. Let's see, November beans, same thing, had a net gain of 3 cents on the week after having a range of 45 cents. Let's see, Kansas Dees actually had a net weekly loss of 29 cents. Chicago Dees had a net weekly loss of 50 cents week on week. And same thing in Minneapolis had a net loss of 11 cents week on week. So you can see the importance of what the headlines have been doing, and when there's really nothing new to talk about in terms of supply restrictions or potentially slowdowns on executing vessels out of the Black Sea region, you can see what happens with the overall sentiment of the market. So that really pretty much wraps up this week. Be sure to get a hold of your local Columbia Grain merchandiser to get your orders out there and working. Take a look at some of the accumulator contracts that we have out there that can actually get you a little bit of a premium to what you could get on your traditional hedge to arrive for. And remember, if you seed in the dust, your bins will bust. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll talk with you next week.